Perhaps the biggest mystery surrounding the Xbox One family of devices is just how many consoles Microsoft has sold worldwide for the brand. Nobody really knows. Is it 30 million, 35 million, 40 million, 50 million? Your guess is just as good as mine. But information came out today from an analyst who has given us the exact number of Xbox One consoles sold worldwide, but that's not it. He also goes on to say that the digital sale ratio for Xbox games are much higher than other platforms. What's going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. Now, if you enjoyed this video, by the end of it, make sure to leave a like or a dislike, and if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button as it helps out the channel tremendously. I would appreciate it a lot. Alright, so Xbox One sales, the big mystery of this gen. Nobody knows what they are. Everybody has an opinion about it. Is it 20 million? Perhaps 25, maybe 30 million. Could it possibly be 45 million? And the reason everybody guesses is because Microsoft doesn't want to share the information, even though they were very forthcoming last generation with the Xbox 360. They were out there every MPD release saying just how well they sold. But when the tables flipped and the Xbox One got off to a very poor start in comparison to the PlayStation 4, Microsoft stopped mentioning sales figures. Now, we know what the PlayStation 4 is at. Sony will routinely let us know. In fact, their last update, I think they mentioned they are at 91.2 million sold worldwide, which is incredibly impressive. The Nintendo Switch is doing gangbusters, and Nintendo will let us know how many those consoles sold, but not Microsoft. But finally, an analyst who has deep connections in this industry has let us know exactly what the number is here, but there's even more to the story than that. But we're going to get to it right now. I'm going to throw up the quote on screen. It comes to us from a posting on Reset Era from the analyst Z Huge. And he had this to say: had a quick scan of the release. Xbox One had a good year, all things considered. Hardware was up year over year thanks to the release of the Xbox One X. Software remains healthy, and I really need to stress how large the digital shares are on Xbox compared to other platforms. And here's the key point coming up. Global installed base now around 41 million. That's right. The Xbox One, according to industry analyst C Huge, is around 41 million, which is about what I have been saying when asked this on podcast. We know that the Xbox One tends to trail 2-to-1, in fact, even more than 2-to-1 recently, because we know the PlayStation 4 is at 91 million. Now the Xbox One is at 41 million. It's more than 2-to-1, but not quite 3-to-1. So it's pretty interesting information there. And of course, now you understand just why Microsoft won't share that information publicly with anybody. Because quite honestly, they are getting hammered by PlayStation across the world. The simple fact of the matter is the PlayStation is a global brand that sells in every country across Europe and in Asia. The Xbox One basically only sells in English-speaking countries like the United States and the United Kingdom. Yeah, it does well in Mexico and Brazil, but those countries really don't make up the deficit. And the Xbox One just can't make those inroads into Europe, where most of Sony's lead is against the Xbox at this time. I mean, just take a look at how many consoles the Xbox One and the PS4 have sold here, just in the United States. The Xbox One is roughly 24.5 million, and the PlayStation 4 is roughly 28.5 million. So there's a 4 million unit difference here in North America, according to NPD, but yet PlayStation is at 90 million sold, and the Xbox is at 41 million sold. So more than half of the consoles sold for Xbox are right here in North America, but less than a third of the consoles sold for PlayStation are based here in America, because it does most of its business across the world, especially in Europe. Now, honestly, when you take everything into consideration, how this generation started with the DRM, with always 24-hour online system, with Sony saying this is how you share games, everything went wrong for Microsoft. Don Matrick left because of how just unorganized and how badly they were beaten by Sony. And honestly, I'm even surprised that Xbox is able to get to 41 million, and more than likely will sell 50 million plus when this generation is all said and done. We got 2019 coming up, we have 2020 before the new system, so we got another 2 years of sales. I think it easily passes up 50 million, maybe approaches 60 million when it's all said and done. Yes, that'll be less than the 360, which sits at roughly 85 to 88 million. But, you know, the 360 took advantage of all of Sony's screw-ups with the PS3, $100 more expensive, the Blu-ray player, the no games in the beginning, and the Xbox 360 benefited from that just the same way the PlayStation 4 benefited from Xbox One being underpowered and $100 more expensive, and the confusing messaging. So I think at the end of the day, Microsoft recovered well, especially considering the fact that everybody says Xbox has no games. In the last 2 years, there hasn't been any worthwhile exclusives on the platform, according to a lot of people, to still sell as much as it has. Shows that there is still some attachment to the brand here, especially in North America. But when you consider how this is going to play out for next generation and beyond, Microsoft really needs to start making inroads into Europe. I think Japan and Asia are a lost cause for them. But then again, of course, Microsoft is hoping xCloud and delivering games to people on their cell phones wherever they are and on their PCs will make up for that. Now, the other interesting part of this whole conversation, this whole statement from Z Huge, is that software remains healthy for Xbox, and he goes on to say, I really need to stress how large the digital shares are on Xbox compared to other platforms. And he says, to clarify, the first part of that statement in the OP is talking about US sales data. So the digital shares in the United States. I just mentioned there are 4 million less consoles in the United States than for Xbox One than PlayStation, but it seems, according to this analyst, that Xbox One users are more inclined to go digital, which has kind of not a surprise, really. We have heard recently from other people that Microsoft and Xbox, they tend to monetize their users better. Xbox users are more inclined to buy digital than their PlayStation counterparts. And when you usually have a smaller pool of players, they tend to be more hardcore, and the hardcore buy digital. And when you actually are more of the popular console like PlayStation is, you tend to buy more physical, and they tend to buy less games overall. Nothing against PlayStation, that's just kind of the fact of, you know, the leading consoles. So it's really not a surprise to me that the Xbox One has a bigger digital share than the other two consoles. So I want to know what you think about all this information. Is the Xbox One at 41 million kind of where you thought it would be? Did you think it would be higher, 45 million, 50 million? Did you think it would be lower, 35 million? Because I know there have been charts floating around about GPUs sold that said it was impossible for Microsoft to sell more than 36 million, which in this thread, this information was brought up to Z Huge, that chart, and he said it was completely wrong. So anybody that was kind of propping up that information, well, it's not right. All in all, it falls in line with exactly what I thought the Xbox One was at, about 40 million. It's obviously not going to reach the heights of the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4 won this war, quote unquote, back in 2013 with that sharing video, and it just kind of has been uphill for them and kind of downhill for Microsoft. But with all the recent moves Microsoft's making, buying all the new studios to make the exclusive games, plugging that hole, having Xbox Game Pass, coming out with excellent hardware with the Xbox One X, Microsoft is really trying to turn the tides to get people excited about the Xbox brand in the future to make that comeback. I don't think Xbox is going to have a poor start for the next generation. I think it's going to be guns blazing and everything's going to be pretty damn awesome. I can't wait for it all, but when I saw this news, I just had to share it out with you guys. So the Xbox One, when you're in conversations with people, Z Huge himself says 41 million, and Xbox gamers tend to have and buy more digital games and everything digital in comparison to the PlayStation and the Nintendo Switch. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, leave a comment below, share this out on Twitter and Facebook with a friend. I would greatly appreciate that. Hit that sub button if you're new, and hit that notification bell located right next to the sub button so you're instantly notified whenever I drop new content. And of course, I'll have the link to this information in the description of the video. Always gotta have a source. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed it all, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Later.